Somebody asked Michael Batnick if he could pick one stock, give it as a gift, or hold it for the next 25 years to give it as a gift. What would that one stock be? And he bugged out. We'll find out why in a minute. Stick around. So you were doing a podcast and somebody's question, like, totally caught you off guard and asked you, you got to hold one stock for 25 years, like, I guess for like a child or something, and you had trouble answering the question. And because I'm smarter than you, I know the answer to the question, but yep. What did you say?
So this somebody, just to give him a little plug, is Michael Samuels. He's at Accord to Sources.
Okay.
So I said I didn't know what to say, and the first thing that came to mind was Amazon.
Okay.
Right? Like, I don't know.
It's like, that's like the most pedestrian answer that somebody would give to that question, because it's like the hottest company on earth right now.
Right.
And everyone uses it, and it's just like, oh yeah, Amazon.
So as soon as I left, and I'm walking this up, I'm like, that is the dumbest answer. Like, are you serious? Right. $880 billion.
Yeah.
Like the second biggest stock in the world.
Why, that can't go to 1.6 trillion over 25 years? That'd be a pretty good rate of return. No? If it
doubled in 25 years, that'd be pretty shitty.
Not so great.
But anyway, so my answer is, I think Berkshire Hathaway. So obviously I would have chosen an index fund, but that's super boring. That's not what he asked.
Yeah, it's not, you can't do that.
But Berkshire is probably the closest thing to an index fund. And this is an exercise that I think these are both hard, but I think it's easier to figure out what won't change in the next 25 years.
That's what I want to ask you. It's you have to almost like screen things out first. Like, you have to say, like, what wouldn't work, I feel like, is the right approach to start. To start there.
So we got a ton of feedback. Right. And to me, something that I definitely wouldn't choose is Apple.
Okay.
Who knows what communication is going to look like in the future? I feel like Apple's...
So that's interesting until I point out that Apple in the early 1980s came along and it's still around. Well, it's in the DNA of the company to figure out what the next thing is so far. It's not 30 years and counting? I don't know. All right, go on.
But so anyway, another interesting thought that I had, and this is, I think, is pretty dangerous, to think about the future in terms of current market capitalization.
Yeah.
I think is a really dangerous exercise that I know I used to do all the time. So as a for instance.
You'd say that's already too big, so forget it?
Yeah.
Well, because companies can do buybacks and shrink the float as the share price grows.
Well, and how about just inflation?
Right.
Like, these numbers are not comparable to numbers from the 1980s. So I thought about like Netflix, which used to have a really lousy content library. Right. It was a competition from Amazon, from Hulu, from HBO, whatever. I'm like, it's already a $30 billion market cap.
Right.
And now it's 165. So anyway, my point is, maybe Amazon's not a terrible answer, because who's to say that it can't go to $4 trillion in 25 years?
Right. And then one of the things you were saying is, like, definitely not a fossil fuel company, because it's hard to picture 25 years from now that our vehicles are burning the same amount of fuel. Like, it just would be an absurd proposition.
Yeah, and not a brand is tough. I think Disney is one of the few that I think will definitely be Disney in 25 years.
Right.
Will Nike be Nike in 25 years?
It's funny that you said Disney and even secondarily Nike, because I remember when I first got in the business, like, one of the popular things was, like, people that had a newborn baby, like, the gift to give was like a stock certificate from Disney, because it had like Mickey or Donald Duck on it. And, like, you know, people would like hang it in the nursery framed. And I don't think that turned out so badly. I don't think it was a great investment from like the late 90s to now, but I'm sure it did okay. But Disney was like the stock at one point that people would say, Disney will always be Disney.
So anyway, to the point of Amazon being a terrible idea because it's the biggest stock.
Yeah.
20 years ago, probably the obvious answer aside from Disney would have been General Electric.
Yeah, that would have been maybe 30 years ago. Like, but I was thinking about that before we even talked about it. When I was reading your thing, I was saying, like, I remember the late 90s, like 97, AOL would have been a layup, or Yahoo in 98, or Cisco in 1999, because it's always like the recency bias definitely has an impact on how you would answer this question.
Well,
it's very hard not to.
The other thing that determines how you answer this question is, are you gifting $10,000 or are you gifting $200? Because if it's $200, you buy the smallest biotech stock, you throw a dart, and you hope you hit it.
The smallest
whatever.
Biotech?
You buy a biotech stock.
Dude, you might as well give a lottery ticket.
That's what
25 years.
I'm saying if it's $200, if it's a small dollar amount.
Okay, I see.
Then you
if it's real money, then you buy a more established.
Then you throw a Hail Mary. If it's 10 grand,
okay.
then you're going to be more judicious. So what do you
think? I don't hate that idea. So now do you want me to solve the puzzle?
Please, by all means.
The answer is Google. So 25 years from now, if somebody's watching this video, you can laugh at me. I don't care. But I'm just like making the point that when Alphabet set itself up as a holding company to own Google, in addition to channeling the profits from Google into other bets, other ventures, they were not doing this surreptitiously. Like they were not like, yeah, this is something new. They were like openly acknowledging this is our bid to do something Berkshire Hathaway-esque. And it's not that they're the jockeys that you definitely want to bet on because they just haven't been around as long as Buffett and Munger have. So it's like, it's kind of ridiculous to say Google's the next Berkshire. I guess my point.
Well, Larry and Sergey are 45.
Yeah, no. So my point is that if anyone has a shot to build the next Berkshire, it's not going to be somebody coming from finance. It's not even another insurance company that replicates what Berkshire did with its premium flows. To me, it's going to be a technology company that is not afraid. And the reason why Larry and Sergey are not afraid is because they've structured the business so they have all the votes, right? So they have they have Google Ventures. Waymo is a wholly owned subsidiary. They're running a lot of these components as though they were their own Fortune 500 companies, each with its own CEO. That's very Buffett-esque with what he's done with General Re, with the railroad, with Mid-American Energy. So I think from that standpoint, there is a lot of copycatting, and it can actually work given how much cash flow Google generates.
I think that's a good answer. And it's not crazy expensive. I think it's 35 times earnings, something like that.
I think it's the cheapest of the FANG names. Microsoft might be cheaper. I'm not 100% sure.
They just grew revenue 26% year over year.
Right. So now the CFO is from Morgan Stanley. This is somebody with financial discipline. It's not just like they're throwing $5 billion at every project. And then the other thing I want to bring up, similar to Berkshire, this last quarter that they reported, there was like an extra $1.5 billion in profits. Wall Street doesn't even care about it.
Wait, what do you mean an extra?
They had 20 different liquidity events for small investments that they made in the last quarter. So they had companies get acquired that they were investors in. They had companies go public that they were investors in or that they own the whole thing. And they've had 50 of those types of liquidity events for their smaller venture investments in the last 2 years. So it's not like they're just throwing Hail Marys. They're making investments in smaller Silicon Valley things that are paying off. And they're doing this overseas as well, in Asia and Europe. So it's not that we should, and by the way, Google's bigger than Berkshire anyway. So like saying it's the next Berkshire is kind of silly. But in terms of longevity, is this the type of structured company and is this the type of talent that could theoretically become Berkshire-esque over the next 25 years? I think there's a better shot than any other company I can think of.
So Howard Lindzen in 2015 said that Google is like the best tech ETF.
Right. So it's not really an ETF because it's really one management team in charge of everything and it's one security. But it's an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah.
So I don't look. And by the way, so here's like the biggest caveat of all time. They could end up making a bet that sinks the company. Or Siri and Alexa could steal all of their thunder if search becomes voice only. Like what if we all stop looking at screens and just talk to the internet and Google Assistant never catches up and all of a sudden everything just becomes an Alexa search? Like it's feasible that whatever moat we think Google's Alphabet's main business has goes away, and so 10 years from now this could look totally stupid. And I'm fully aware of that. So that's you have any thoughts on, I know you've looked at how many companies have been top 10 by market cap that have basically disappeared from that top 10 over the years. Turnover is high.
Yeah.
So, that's my big caveat. Anyway, but I did have a better answer than you, I think, is what we can all agree on, right?
All right, I'll give you it.
Okay. All right, that's it for us. Tell us in the comments section what your one stock for 25 years would be. Here are the rules. No ETFs, no indexes.
And hold on, one more thing that you could leave in the comment section. Is it finance or finance? I can't believe you say finance. It sounds ridiculous.
Finance is like
finance.
somebody that
It's
just
finance.
like got off a Greyhound bus.
And finance
in
is
New York.
like 1894.
Finance.
Finance.
It's the business of finance.
Finance.
Okay, you can comment on that too. See you later.